Okay, Floyd, here's the one for your cousin that I'm going to send to you. I think it's going to you. I haven't checked where it's going. Maybe it's going to him. I'm not sure. Or her. I'm not sure. To him or her. But appreciate that. Return order. These are mighty fine sounding radios. And for those that don't want sideband, it probably is a good choice for everything that you get with it. So I will... I'll stick a manual out of one in the box, because apparently you said you didn't get a manual with yours, and hopefully in the near future Stryker will update their website for this radio. It's basically the same radio. I mean, if you look at the 955 Plus manual, there might be a couple different things in there regarding the sideband part of the radio, but they're not real in-depth manuals anyway, so most of the stuff is pretty much self-explanatory on the radio. Of course, they don't go into advanced detail about how to use programming software or any of that stuff. So some of that stuff you got to kind of figure out just from experience. So a lot of this stuff could be a little more user-friendly, I think, on even the programming stuff that the company that makes the programming and all that stuff uses. I think some of it could just be way more user-friendly, and they could just eliminate a lot of the, I don't know, some of the things that, you know, you could really make it easier for some type of operators that just are wondering what certain things do, and some things probably aren't necessary at all, because a lot of us aren't really looking to really, you know, expand a lot of what the radio already does anyway. So there's only certain maybe key aspects of that programming stuff that really most would use anyways, but nonetheless it's there and it's useful for those that want to use it. Okay, so this radio pretty much has everything I think you could really want. Most of the guys that, you know, I highly doubt a lot of guys want to buy a radio that has SSB, but the really diehard guys probably have some type of HF transceiver that they use more often than they would ever use something anyways with SSB. So I know myself, I would prefer that. I mean, not to say that certain models don't work really good, because they do, but you know, if you're going to run mobile, then that's a different story. Then yeah, probably you would want SSB if you like SSB, but you know, it just all depends on the individual and the operator preference. But for better or worse, for AM and FM, this is one of the best out there right now for what it is. So, you know, the whole SSB thing could be debatable. Some guys only want one radio. Maybe you don't have a license, and if you don't have a license, I don't really see where going out and spending big money on some HF models really productive, unless maybe you plan on in the future or something. But you know, that's just how I look at it. I didn't really ever see the need to go and spend big money on some big HF model until I actually had a license where not only could I use certain aspects of it, but I could kind of use all of it. So, but that's just how I do things. So let's get this thing ready to go here. The programming software is done, so that should be identical to the one that you have. As far as that goes, let's just bring up the little program here so I can get into this. Send file. Do this and this, so we should be in there. Okay, we're in there. So what we're going to do is just check the transmit frequency and all that stuff first. I'll set the power and all that. I'm going to skip over all of it because I've already kind of covered it before. It's going to be identical. AM is going to be a half a watt at the lowest setting. Same with FM. AM will be 10 watts at the highest setting on the RF power, is what I mean by that. And then FM will be about 50. And since we don't have SSB, we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that's the frequency out of the box. So it's about, what, 59 hertz low, somewhere in there. I mean, that's super close. So I'm going to turn it up just one notch. And this has a 10-second gate, so it takes it about 10 seconds to do what it needs to do here. So we'll just come back. Okay, so all intents and purposes, that's a little bit better there. Either way, it was good. Just being picky at that point, but it's super easy. I wish there was a little bit more of a fine adjustment, but there's not. So we work with what they give us. There's the FM power, it's about 50. Bring that low power down to. Alright, bring that low power down. Okay. Now we're going to do the modulation, which we already know on these is super easy. We just turn the control all the way up because it doesn't go anywhere. It goes a little bit close to 4, but it doesn't go any farther than like 3.95, and I'll just check it just to be sure, but it bottoms out and then basically nothing, so we'll check that really quick just because, so I make sure that they didn't change anything, but I highly doubt that they did. So we'll go into modulation analyzer, FM, we'll bring this up to FM. I'll send the tone 3.9, so that's good. If I go any higher, it just shuts off. So it's about a 3.9, which is fine. That's much better than where it came in. Let's see. Up about a half inch of movement. It's like more of a drop. And I didn't think nothing of it. But and when I went to go use it, it wouldn't work. So I'm like, what the hell? Nothing, absolutely nothing. It come to find out it was the relay. What happened was there's your high power AM. You go just a little bit higher because it doesn't give you, there's no fine balance. You got one rotation this way, one rotation that way, so sometimes a little bit higher is all you can do. It's where, you know, having a potentiometer on the board, you can kind of get it where you want it, but we're over that, I guess, in the world of radio now. They don't have that option, so. Okay, we'll get your half a watt about right there. Let me shut this radio down for a minute. Okay, so the AM mod low. Again, the same as the last time, it ramps up and settles down from a 0.5 to a 1 watt on the tone, which is about right. I think on your last one it was the same, about 93%. They all come out about the same usually, so it looks nice and round without any flattening, so that's what you want. And we'll move on to the high power. Get that knocked out, and then this one is done. Since there's no sideband, it's short and sweet. So if anybody notices anything on my scope, sometimes this isn't hooked up to the GPS, so whatever it reads is what it reads. It's pretty close, but it is what it is. You know, I don't have the GPS hooked up to the, there's no reason to. When I got it hooked up to the counter and the spectrum analyzer, it's just a waste. I don't need this for a frequency counter, but I guess if you didn't have the other stuff, you could use it. It would be pretty damn accurate with the GPS in there. So let's run the tone on the high power side and just see. So it's kind of low, and we'll just bump it up some. Obviously it gets to be a little too aggressive, and you can see what happens. So looks like it's about right there, so just want to get a good zoom in look. It's good there, so we just want to maintain both are good. So that's why you like to use the zoom feature, so you can see things a little bit better. So 10 watts is what we started with, 10 point something, so we're somewhat double, if not a little bit more on the continuous tone, so that's a good sign there. And we're ready to get this back into standard operation. Get this out of here and put it into standard mode. I'll plug in this Road Devil because that's what I use here when I'm testing. And you're also going to get the free mic, so let me grab that before I forget. Okay, so there's the free mic. So I got about a handful of those left, so when they're gone, they're gone. But you know, I say that because somebody could watch this video a year from now. Hey man, you said you were giving away free mics. Well, I did when I had them. Let's just say that, because I won't be carrying these anymore probably in the future. So if you order a Stryker radio, you get the free mic while supplies last on these. That's I guess the statement that needs to be heard and understood. Okay, so we'll start off. I want to check your menu really quick just to see how things are looking. I want to turn this gate function on. I recommend everybody runs the gate function on your radio. It's kind of important on these because they do have a little bit of a, you can see the difference with the carrier like that. It looks more normal, and when the gate function is not on, like that, there's noise. I attribute that, and I don't have any technical data to really back it up other than it's just what I think. I think it's that board in the radio, the voltage enhancing board. I believe that's the cause of that. So do I have basis to back that up? No, but those things make noise. They do oscillate, and they are very noisy, so I believe that the noise is being caused by that. Your ramp up board, which is what gives this radio the extra, the boost board, whatever you want to call it, it's what gives this radio that extra power to go from whatever they did 60 70 watts before to 100. Now personally, I would have left it at the normal power. I don't think the extra power really warrants any big deal for me, but everybody has a choice on what they want to do. So again, this is RMS. You can see the little W is your average RMS. So when I speak, you know, there's going to be times where certain words, just like on peak, on PEP, certain words drive a little harder than other words. Now again, this is at a 10 watt carrier, so don't be mistaken here. This isn't going to do 1 or a half and do this kind of power. So just keep that in mind. Okay, here's PEP. So on PEP with this, we're seeing a little over 100 watts. The box says about 95 plus, so we're easily seeing that, no problem here. And let's just see where we're at here. So I need to adjust my spectrum analyzer a little bit, so I'll do that really quick. It's really close though, 40.2. And I'm actually at 40.08, so let's just do this. Bring that up so that we see more information. And I wish I could just do that with the roller, but I can't, so it's probably about 50.2 maybe. It was pretty damn close. I'll call that good. Okay, so now when I modulate this, we can see a high level of modulation on this radio, as you can see. But again, as we go into our next channels, which if I do this and span it out to like maybe a little more than double what I just showed before, so now we're looking at 50 kilohertz, so roughly 25 kilohertz, two channels and a little bit more on each side. As you can clearly see now, you know, the power pretty much stays where it should, which is, this is all you really can ask for. I mean, if you're looking good like this, then you got no problems. Now obviously with bleed over, for the unexperienced radio users that don't know, when you get close to somebody, yes, bleed over happens on a Cobra 19 or Pro 510 XL. It doesn't matter what you're talking on. If you're close enough to somebody and they're on a different channel, you will bleed them over. So people like to talk about things and make themselves look smarter because they prey on people that just flat out don't know things. But you know, I'm a radio user first and foremost, and this stuff I just do for fun. So take it for what it is here. As you can see, the design of the radio kind of takes precedence over the single tone that we had in there before. So you can see some of that overshooting on the scope as I speak, a little bit of pinching. The radios sound very good though, so at the end of the day, you know, you can blame whoever you want. You can say, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing, and hey, that's fine if that's what somebody thinks, you know, more power to them. But the design of the radio is what's going to take over anyway, so, you know, we can all sit here and yell at each other and call each other names, and this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and you should come to me because I do, and I don't play any of them games. It's just, it's not beneficial. So obviously, as we already know too on these radios, as the radio heats up, the carrier on the low end kind of comes up and the carrier on the high end kind of comes down. It's just kind of normal for these, but we're at like 0.6. So if I readjust that, most likely it will be lower than what it was when I started in the service mode. So I'm just going to leave it the way it is. It'll be fine. You're obviously lower than 1 watt. This is back to average power, so we're seeing a lot of average power at times. It just depends, but we're starting at like at least half a watt. So anything we see, we have to base that off of that. And let's go here. Let's go here and take a look. So we will probably see some huge overshoots, and that's like that. If you were to look at the meter when that's happening, that's where you get that heavy peak power. And also the RMS number would be high there too. So this is way out of scale here now, but let's see. It's not too bad. 20. We're at 28.1. So we'll go up here and just kind of bring this up. And we'll go, I'll just guesstimate about here. A little too much, so 2.8. It's really close. It's close enough because this doesn't give me the third digit anyway. So okay, now we're looking how we should look here, and again, you know, we're still really clean even though we have a really low dead key and we're getting high peaks of power. I haven't shown peak yet, but as you know, it'll do probably quite a bit at times. So I'm going to span this back down to say 20. So now we're looking at the next channel, each far right of the screen. I'm sorry, the far right and left is the middle of the next channel, as they say. So you can see everything stays below the 0 dBm, which you guys can do the math yourself. And this spectrum analyzer and this LP read an RMS for power when it's showing dBm. So, you know, it is what it is there as well. But the radios are very, very good, and they talk good. They're clean to an extent of somebody not being right next door to you, or when they're skip. Obviously skip changes the dynamic of things, and people say, oh, he's running a crappy system and blah blah blah. Sometimes skip makes things appear like they're local, so it's not always the guy's running a dirty setup. It's just the way the skip's running. The skip can take locals out. As the guys that are experienced already know that. So, but again, we're starting at a half a watt, and our PP is somewhere up there, I don't know, in the 30s at times, and maybe more, it just depends. But as you can see, maybe as I can kind of show both, when we get a higher number on the peak side, we get a higher peak on the oscilloscope there, as those overshoots are taking over. There was a 68 there, so there's an 80. So it's just the design of the radio, but it is cool when that happens. I mean, if you put this up to 2 watts here, there's your 2 watts. Hello radio, 1 2 3 1 2 3. So it gets a little more aggressive at 2 watts, as you can see here. But again, it's all dependent on what kind of meter you're measuring power with. If you don't have a decent meter, you're not going to see these things happen. So you can't get that truck stop meter out and expect to see what you're seeing here. That's what I'm trying to say. So I think we're good. Let me hook this up to my antenna and just briefly see if there's anything out here. It's been really quiet lately. Okay, so this is on my Mako V5000. Again, it's kind of new to my setup here, so I took down the beam that I had. It's probably about 66 feet to the bottom of it. And so far I'm liking it a lot. Sometimes you can hear that rumbling on sideband. Again, it's pretty quiet today.
Mostly sunny late in the morning. Numerous showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon will be seen in northern areas.
How about that? Picking up weather band on all the... There's supposed to be a storm here today. This is mine right here. It's heading this way.
Hazard 60 miles per hour wind gusts. Source radar indicated. Impact expects damage to roofs, siding, and trees.
Well, we'll find out what happens to the antennas if they can sustain it. I'm sure they can. Nothing on that one. It's trying to pick that one up, but it's real weak. Watch this. I'll go to a different antenna here. Let's see. Thought maybe one of my amateur antennas would pick something up better. This is a vertical 2-meter antenna.
After midnight, in the upper 80s, Michigan winds 5 to 10.
I don't know where that one's coming out of. Obviously I could rotate the antenna, but it's not really important. The main thing is the weather band's working. So obviously we don't want to leave it on that antenna for this test, but there we go. So we do have a horizontal antenna up there. It's a little BA1 Mako. There's that. So you don't hear much of a difference. But it does notice when there's more skip out there. I can tell a difference when you go to the horizontal, just like you could on a beam kind of thing. So there's that horizontal. Of course, it's hard to, guys are going to talk when they're going to talk, but let's see. Not much of a difference there, but anyways, it's working good, so I will go personally take it to the post office today, and hopefully it'll be heading your way. Give us sometime next week. Horizontal, vertical, so you can tell the difference. Florida, huh? Horizontal, vertical. Sometimes you can't. Just depends on how people are coming in. But there's a little bit of conditions out there anyways. Alright, thanks a lot there, Floyd 73.